All right, we are live and we have a lot to talk about. Fantastic news.
Oh, we have our camera! Reggie Fils-Aimé!
Obi-Wan plays.
That's right. What's up? All right.
Obi-Wan plays.
What is going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? We are live. I forgot to add my sponsors in the Discord. I just went live. I just pushed live. But what's up to everybody in the chat? Reeson, Kibo, Preach, Mahomes, Neil, Logan, No Sash, Panthorius, ASAP, Tony Mater, Black, Wizard. What's up to everybody coming into the chat? Paid. What's up, my guy? I need everybody to give the stream a big, when you come into the stream, give it a big thumbs up. The kids are all around me. Josh, you got to be on the other side. Your head is still in the stream. You got to go on the other side if you want to be in the stream. What's up to everybody coming into the chat? Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Brielle.
Make sure to like this. Make sure to like this slide.
That's right. Make sure to like and subscribe. We will be giving away a Switch 2 console. Shout out to Mur. We will be giving away a Switch 2 console. We will be giving away a Switch 2 console, Mario Kart World, and a 512 gigabyte micro SD Express card. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be dope. Can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. We are less than 2 months from launch. It's already April. We got May, then June. Less than 2 months from launch. It's going to be epic. It's going to be lit. But we got some news to talk about today. The first news item. This is breaking news, but take this with a grain of salt. Take this with a grain of salt. This is from Reddit. First off, Mattern with the $2 euros. Got my pre-order in the UK. Can't wait, don't hate. Hey, Martin. I need somebody to type Martin in the chat. I need to ask you a question. Martin from the UK with the $2 super chat. Martin, I need to ask, how hard was it to lock in your pre-order? I heard pre-orders in the UK right now that they're sold out. Tony type Martin, Paid type Martin, Neil Martin. Show my guy Martin some love. Martin Lawrence. All right. So that's one of the things we are going to talk about. Pre-orders, the whole pre-order situation. We got to keep y'all updated to the latest to what's going on. Speaking of pre-order and price, what I'm about to say, take it with a grain of salt. This is coming from Reddit. Nintendo is set to have an internal meeting tomorrow to discuss a Switch 2 potential price change. Grain of salt. My gut feeling is that they are going to have an internal meeting, but I think the outcome's going to be we can't change the price this late in the game. New pre-orders open every few days. That's dope, Martin. So they're doing it in waves. I hope Nintendo does the same thing in the US. Do those pre-orders in waves.
They're gonna be gone.
Do something to stop the scalpers. All right. Let me read it. It says, this is from Reddit. Nintendo's having a meeting to talk about changing prices. Are they referring to pricing of games? Pricing of what? It just says changing prices. It seems Nintendo has listened. It's pretty obvious we all have been so insistent. It is about time. The Spanish YouTuber. This is friends know people who work in the industry came that Friday, tomorrow. Nintendo is having a meeting with managers and other important people to talk about the prices issues and maybe lowering them. He doesn't want to expose his source, but a few things have leaked turned out to be real. So he thinks it's reliable. And I repeat, he knows people with private information. All right. He also claims that Nintendo is scared of our negative reaction and they are panicking. Sounds almost right. At least a bit. But still, I insist the meeting is to talk about what to do now. It doesn't mean they will lower the prices, and that's to note. They're just talking about how they're going to move forward. But at least we can say for sure they have listened to the fans. And so they're talking about, let's keep the hashtag drop the prices. Dudes who want pre-orders are saying hashtag raise the price. So let's people pre-order. All right. So according to this information, Nintendo is set to have an internal meeting tomorrow to discuss the price of the system. My gut feeling is the price is the price. Do I think Nintendo's going to raise the price? I don't think so. Even with the talks of the tariffs. And we got good news that Trump has put a 90-day pause on tariffs.
Except for China.
Except for China.
She raised the one.
Bro, how did my 9-year-old son knows this? He said, Trump has put a pause on tariffs except on all countries except China, which he raised to 125%. Bro, we got to gangster this president. This is crazy. And so, good news for Vietnam, though, because that's where Nintendo is mass producing. Sam just subscribed. Not my son Sam, another Sam. Lake Show with the $2 super chat. Hashtag raise the price. LOL. June is my birthday month. Lit Lake Show. I need somebody in the chat to type Lake Show, my guy. Somebody show Lake Show some love. When in June is your birthday, bro? I already told y'all mine is at the end of the month. When is your birthday, Lake Show? Sam is typing Lake Show. Tony, Lake Show. Dion, Lake Show. Neil, No Sag, Lake Show. Trump hates China for some odd reason. Pay, that's facts. Because there is also breaking news coming out of China. We have our first Nintendo Switch 2 console launch day delay. Not pre-order delay, but launch day delay in China. It has been announced that Nintendo is postponing indefinitely, meaning they don't have any plans of changing right now, the launch date for China. So as of right now, there is no launch Switch 2 date for China.
Okay,
bro,
okay,
I would be tight if I was Chinese right now, hoping for a Switch 2. Elsa, appreciate it. So, D-Drip God, yeah, I did see somebody say like China been, hey, now let me say this though. China do be bootlegging everything. Like, they just like have straight patent ripoffs, and there are no consequences. So I do say that. I'm not in favor. I'm not saying one way or another with the tariffs, but with the patents, I do see how China does, like, you could get like, they used to like bootleg everything, bro. Yeah, but that's tough. All right. What's up, everybody coming into the chat? We are at 26 likes, 14 people. Give the stream a thumbs up, and we are just getting started. We have so much news to talk about. This next news item I thought was funny. Well, you know what? This is worth mentioning. Nintendo did confirm, just because Game Chat is playing behind me, that they purposely lowered the frame rate of your friend's chat a gameplay so that your main gameplay wouldn't be interfered. And that makes sense, because people are like looking at it like, look at how low the frame rate is on the screens below. But Nintendo has purposely done that. Echidna with the $5 super chat. He says people are already in campers outside in the parking lot near me waiting at the GameStop. Near me waiting at the GameStop. Yeah, bro. Because a lot of people thought it was going to be yesterday. But the Switch, I need everybody to type Echidna in the chat. Echidna. Sonic Sidekick and Sonic and Knuckles. Knuckles the Echidna. Tony Echidna. Lake Show already. Dion Martin typing Echidna. Lake Show. Paid type Echidna. Show my guy Echidna some love. So, and that makes sense. And I already said that, like, that's cool. I don't mind your friends' game chat screens are, the frame rate is lower. The purpose is so you have a general idea of what they're playing, where they're at on their stage. That's cool. But I like the functionality and the feature. I'm going to be using that almost daily on streams with the sponsors while we're doing our gaming streams. So if any sponsors end up getting that webcam, or if you already have a webcam, you want to be on stream with me while we're gaming, it's going to be lit. Switch 2 era is going to be epic. An epic era of gaming. Now, let's talk about this game right here. Nintendo Welcome Tour. My guy Reggie Fils-Aimé is sending subliminal shots at Nintendo. Reggie, this is coming from Go Nintendo, but a lot of places are talking about it. Reggie subtly pokes Nintendo over their Switch 2 Welcome Tour approach. What did Reggie start tweeting? He started tweeting about how Wii Sports became a free pack-in title for the Switch. Obviously, throwing shots at Welcome Tour not being a free pack-in title. My guy, Ghost Wolf. Ghost Wolf with the $10 super chat with the big 10. Ghost Wolf is making it rain. Whoa. All right, let me read Ghost Wolf's comment. Ghost Wolf is saying everyone is fine with the Switch 2 price. The price of the games is the problem. If Nintendo wants Switch 2 games to sell like Switch games, Nintendo needs to drop this game price to 70 or even 60. I hear what you're saying, Ghost Wolf. Let me just reply to Ghost Wolf and say, I hear you, bro. But I'm going to share my opinion too. I hear you, bro. Now, this is Nintendo's... Wait, everybody that's typing Ghost. Elsa Ghost said Ghost Wolf is a legend. Neil Ghost Wolf. Lake Show Ghost Wolf. Tony Ghost Wolf. No Sag Ghost Wolf. Mahomes Ghost Wolf. The chat paid Ghost Wolf. The chat is going crazy with Ghost Wolf spam. It pays out anyone to chat. They didn't want too much for the Switch 2's power. Yeah, and that makes sense. Keep the core gaming experience clean, crisp. There was 120 frame rates, 4K 60 gaming. Bro, the Switch 2. And I knew it. I kept telling y'all. Once they started showing these games running 4K 60 in the Direct, I was like, oh my goodness. This is not a $400 console. This thing it's more powerful than I thought it would be. Nintendo is going back for power. They've given us a great system. Now, about this Welcome Tour, Switch 2 Welcome Tour game. I've said it once and I say it again. It should have been a pack-in title. I thought that this would have been a cool way just to introduce gamers to the system. And who knows Nintendo's rationale for not including it free. Well, now we sort of know one of the news items I'm going to talk about. It's going to make sense why it's free. But, so it's a $10 game. And this leads to what Ghost was saying about the game prices. Nintendo this generation, and even last generation, they're taking a variable price approach. What does it mean? Some games will be 70, some games will be 60. Some games will be $39.99. Some games will be $80. And Bill Trinan and other Nintendo reps were asked about it. Hold on. I need to just fix this. I know how to fix this too. I just haven't stopped to do it. But Nintendo executives have said in interviews that they're pricing the games based on what Nintendo feels the value of the game is. So Mario Kart World at $80, I'm in the minority, but I understand why it's $80. Why? Most of us are going to get thousands of hours out of this game. This is going to be a game that will be in constant rotation throughout the entire generation of the Switch. And it's going to be open world. It's probably going to have more. And we have the Direct in 10 days. There's going to be more game modes, etc. that Nintendo will have to reveal. This April 17th Direct has quickly turned into a very important Direct. Now, we already know Nintendo probably just needs to turn the comments off on the Direct because everybody's going to be spamming drop the price. But in this Direct, Nintendo's going to show us why this is an $80 game. All the features. Based on what I've already seen, I'm like, this is it. This is going to be. Mario Kart 8 was the best Mario Kart game. Somehow Nintendo has managed to up one on Mario Kart 8, even with the little that we've seen with Mario Kart World. Through the treehouse gameplay, some of those stages, the tracks, the game just looks epic, bro. Blake with the $2 super chat. Appreciate it, Blake. I can justify $500 for the system. $80 for games, he says thumbs down. Now, I understand if like every game is going to be 80, then I could see the outcry. But if Nintendo does the variable pricing and they're confident that the value of the game is 80, we'll see. Time will tell. Now, do I think Mario Kart is still going to sell pretty good? I think so. And who knows? Maybe they adjust the price. But Martin, the spam Blake in the chat. Show my guy Blake some love for the $2 super chat. Martin, Tony, Neil, Elsa, Nosage, Dion, all typed Blake in the chat. 550 in USA tariffs coming back in 90 days. We'll see, creative. But in the meantime, Nintendo is stockpiling Switches. Now, check out this next article from Engadget. We got a lot of stuff. We got some breaking news to talk about today, man. A lot is going on in the Nintendo world. Paid type Blake, Panthorius, Josh. Lake Show with another $2 super chat. Mario Kart 8 is worth 80. To me, 80 is really not that bad. And I get both sides to that coin, Lake Show. That you can say, yeah, 80 isn't that bad. But then we say, all right, 80 isn't that bad. Then Nintendo like, okay, what about 90? So at what point do we start saying, all right, pause, Nintendo? So you give them an inch, they'll take a yard. But I feel you. I'm good on the $80 price because I know the value that I'm going to get in that game. Like, I know that game is I'm going to get thousands of hours out of that game, bro. So, who typed Lake Show in the chat? Paid. Elsa. Neil. My daughter said Elsa from Frozen. Panthorius, Nosage, Dion, showing my guy Lake Show some love for the $2 super chat. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support of the channel, everybody. Check this out from Engadget. Nintendo may sell the Switch 2 at a loss in the US due to tariffs. This is huge for Nintendo. Why? Nintendo is notorious for selling their consoles at a profit. Xbox and PlayStation sells their consoles at a loss and recoups it in their software sales. Nintendo makes a profit off their hardware historically and makes further profits by their software. Nintendo makes more profits in their software than any other company. Their first-party IPs sell like crazy. So, with harsher levies on hold, the company is reportedly ramping up shipments from Vietnam. So, during this 90-day period of no tariffs, what is Nintendo doing? Let's hurry up. Let's start cranking out these Switch 2 consoles. They are producing as many Switch 2 consoles as fast as possible while the tariffs are on a 90-day pause. 48 likes. I need 12 people give the stream a thumbs up. Let's crush 60 likes right now. 12 more people give the stream a thumbs up. The Nintendo Switch 2 is functionally similar to its predecessor. Sure, the detachable controllers can now be used as a mouse. The screen is larger, the hardware is more powerful, and there's a built-in mic for voice chat. But otherwise, the company isn't rocking the boat too much. At least not outside of its business model, as it may be preparing to sell the consoles at a loss. For most countries, President Trump has paused the harshest tariffs that he announced last week. Still, he increased tariffs on imports from China to 125% on Wednesday. That's crazy. Bro, ASAP with the $20 super chat and Red with the back-to-back $10 super chat. I need the chat to spam ASAP and Red. Bro, no way. I gotta read what they're saying. First, Red. I'll gladly buy Mario Kart World for $80 and I'll buy it multiple times so they never drop the price. Hashtag raise the price. I feel you. ASAP. I feel you, bro. Whatever Nintendo has to do to make sure I get my pre-order. Hashtag raise the price. ASAP. And then Red with the $10 super chat. No way. Bro.
Wait, did ASAP already?
And then Panthorus just dropped 5. Bro, y'all going crazy today, bro. All right, Red, hold on. All I know is that I'm going to win the Switch 2 giveaway. So price doesn't matter to me. Talk that talk. Cartoon, just subscribe. You got it in the running for a Switch 2 console giveaway. Talk that talk. Red, even though I'm going to be pulling from a hat live on stream for that second giveaway. But, Red, your name will be in the hat, Red. Panthorius! With the $5. Wait, first, everybody that typed Red and ASAP. Tony, Dion, Elsa, Cartoon, Corey, Nosage, Martin, Neil, Sandeep, Josh, all spam Red and ASAP paid, Gaming Dad, Dion. Then Panthorius dropped 5. I need the chat to show Panthorius some love. Let me read Panthorius's. The 90-day pause will be beneficial to everyone who wants a Switch 2, especially since Vietnam is at 0%. Nintendo fans will eat good this year. Is it 0% or 10%? Notice how we've all turned into economic and political analysts. I think it's, you know what? I might still get this Drive or Drag game. I'm still gonna pick it up. Yeah, I'm gonna still pick. I'm picking it up. I'm getting all the first party games, bro. I am getting every first party game and a lot of the third party games. So Drag and Drive, we getting it, boys. But I think it might be a 10% across the board. I don't know. Somebody look it up. But I need the chat in the meantime to spam Panthorius. Show my guy Panthorius some love. Who's typing Panthorius? Tony. Paid. Oh, a lot of people. Martin, Nosage, Dion, Neil, Sandeep. Showing my guy Panthorius some love. Let's go. It does. and it showcases the mouse functionality. We getting it, boys. We getting it, L. We're going to get that drag and drive game. We're going to get it. We got basketball on wheelchairs, L. Forget a 2K. No, I'm still getting 2K, though. But I am going to be getting it. Elden Ring, lit. I am definitely getting Dust Bloods. Dust Bloods, I'm getting that on the Switch, too. All right. Yeah, while imports from elsewhere will still be subject to a levy of at least 10%. Yeah, well, this article says 10%. Per Bloomberg, Nintendo may be looking to make as many Switch 2 units as it can in Vietnam. I can see those Vietnam factories right now, bro. They are in overdrive. Nintendo is probably trying to make as many Switch 2 consoles as possible during the 90-day freeze on higher tariffs and ship as many to the U.S. The U.S. is a critical market for Nintendo, where their biggest... Bro! No way! Echidna with the $30 super chat. Bruh. Echidna! Show the chat. I need y'all to go crazy with showing Echidna some love, bro. Echidna, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. My God. Appreciate it. $30 super chat from Echidna. That's epic, bro. Appreciate it, man. Let me read this comment. Got to show some love to Obi for all the update. ASAP opened my mind to your hard grind on this channel. We grinding every day. Appreciate it, Echidna. Appreciate it, bro.
He doesn't know how to spell
Appreciate it, bro.
No way.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. The chat is going crazy with Echidna. Everybody's just typing Echidna. Tony, Elsa, Dion, No Sag, Josh. Tony says 30 flipping bucks. Neil, cool DJ typed Echidna. Everybody, mass produce Echidna. Everybody is typing Echidna in the chat. Shh. Keep it down, guys. All right. So, we are their biggest market. Still, with a 10% tariff, Nintendo may be reluctant to eat that cost, even if that means losing money on each sale. This is a direct quote. This is coming from Bloomberg. We believe the Switch 2's bill of material is around $400. They're saying that they are estimating that the Switch costs $400 to produce. Bro, Red with the $5 super chat. Y'all are going crazy today, bro. Red, thanks, my guy. You should have enough to do a third giveaway. Red said we should do a third. Hey, but you better believe when Nintendo announces a Switch 2 Lite, Switch 2 OLED, this is not the end of the giveaways. This is just the beginning. But Dion type Red, No Sag, Neil, Elsa, Martin, everybody's typing Red. Show my guy Red some love. Appreciate everybody, man. Paid, Chariot, all typing Red. The outpouring of love is crazy, bro, and I appreciate it. All right, let's keep going. So according to this analyst, it costs Nintendo $400 to produce one Switch console, meaning Nintendo would still be selling consoles at a loss in the US with the 10% tariff. But the loss would be something Nintendo would be able to absorb, Hideki Yasuda of Toyo Securities told Bloomberg. Sony is in a tougher situation. Bro, we've been talking about Nintendo. I just thought about this. PlayStation 2, Xbox. I think Xbox used to import. They don't, even though Xbox is a Nintendo, an American company, they still produce their consoles overseas, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Sony is in a tougher situation as most of its PlayStation production is in China, and it may be forced to hike PS5 prices in the US in the near future. And check this out. This has been the first generation where there has not been a price cut in consoles. In fact, usually when these console manufacturers, keep it down. When these console manufacturers, I can't wait for this 007 game. Day one buy on the Switch. All right. Usually when PlayStation, Xbox comes out with like a slim model of their console, they reduce the price. Bro, they came out with a slim model. Those prices did not go down this generation. This is going to be a tough generation for all video game manufacturers, not just Nintendo. I think Nintendo's still in the best position because they're going to recoup their loss in software better than Xbox and PlayStation. All right. Another analyst, Robin Zhu of Bernstein, also suggested that Nintendo will take the hit and keep the price at $450 if the tariff on Vietnamese imports remain at 10%. However, at 46% Vietnam tariffs, I expect to raise the Switch 2 price by $50 to $100. Unlike Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo has not historically sold its consoles at a loss, like I just said, with the aim of making up for that with sales of pricey software. And I don't think Nintendo just blindly said, we're going to have this game cost $80. I think Nintendo used Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart World, as their safety net. That they knew the tariffs were coming, and they were like, instead of raising the price of the system and have less adopters, let's increase the price of this game. And Mario Kart 8 is going to just bite the bullet throughout this console generation to help them offset those losses. I think that's what their rationale is. All right. Here it is. The gaming side of the business is far and away Nintendo's largest source of revenue. It's diversifying more these days with things like movies and theme parks, but it still needs a thriving base of Switch and Switch 2 players. With the console critical to the company's success, the suggestion that the Nintendo may sell the $450 Switch 2 at a loss is somewhat surprising, even if it's because of tariffs. Gaming Dad with the $2 super chat. We need those chat face features in Madden. Big facts, Gaming Dad. Let's go. Hey, we're going to have a Madden Nintendo League for the sponsors. So that's going to be lit. And the Super Bowl winner will be getting a prize. So we definitely going to be on that Madden. Everybody type Gaming Dad in the chat. Dion, Tony, Paid, typing Gaming Dad because I'm also a gaming dad. Y'all see all the kids around me. All right. No Sag, Mass, a Lake Show. We need a 2K league. Not a 2K league. We're just going to be running rec and stuff like that in 2K. But we're still going to be lit. All right. Gaming Dad. Everybody's spamming Gaming Dad. Let's go. Nintendo formally revealed the Switch 2 hours before Trump announced higher import tariffs on every country. Soon after, Nintendo delayed the pre-orders of the console in the US. Yeah, this is crazy. Unprecedented times. We've never had a console pre-order delayed like right after pre-orders were announced. This has never happened. So you know this is where politics and economics are directly affecting video games. All right. We're at 60 likes. I need 10 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Let's get the stream to 70 likes right now. All right. So crazy times, crazy news. I am always going to keep y'all updated, but we have more news to talk about. We have another one. This next news item. Nintendo has clarified that the Switch 2 GameCube controller will only work with the online classics library, potentially dashing my original console plans. I'm good because I already have a GameCube controller, a third-party controller that I could play on any Switch game, and it's already been confirmed your Switch accessories will also work on the Switch 2. This is it right here. Perfect timing. And mines have 4 buttons, bro. Will I probably still get the GameCube one for the... I might pick it up, but look what we already have, bro. So we already have that GameCube controller. But it says, no, you can't play Metro Prime 4 with the gamepad. This is coming from GamesRadar.com. Nintendo is potentially dashing my Switch 2 GameCube controller plans. A small print says it'll only work with the online classics library. Now, I think it still might work outside of that, because even like the NES and the Super Nintendo controllers, I believe they still work, albeit you can only like push B and A outside of the classics. So I think Nintendo might be just saying that it's optimized only, it's made to be used only for the Nintendo classics, and it may still work outside of it. Why too? Because I also saw there's like a 4th button on this side, a very small like ZL button on this side. Why would Nintendo include that when on the original GameCube there was only 3 shoulder buttons, but on the GameCube there's actually 4. It's very small, but there's a 4th, there's a ZR or something button on the GameCube controller. So I think it's still going to be able to work outside of it, even though this article is reporting otherwise. All right. Now, still on the tariffs. We got to still keep... Bro, how? Look at that. I just said it. I didn't even know it was behind it. Watch. Hold on. Right there. Look. Right, Joshua, move out the way. Move out the way. I keep telling y'all. Right here. There's a small 4th button. So there's still 4 buttons. So I think Nintendo's still gonna make it playable outside of that.
Tiny?
Because the original GameCube didn't have a button at all over here. There was nothing over here.
Wait, so they just had 3 buttons?
Yeah, this was like a modifying button. Weird times in gaming. All right, more news on the tariffs. This is coming from Polygon.com. It touches some of the information we talked about, but there is some new information in this article. That's why I still wanted to share it. We are in a crazy gaming atmosphere. I think if Nintendo foresaw all this happening, they probably would have launched the Switch 2 last year or something. But we just got to deal with it. I'm still super hyped. Nothing can stop the Switch 2 hype, bro. Absolutely nothing. All right. A new Bloomberg report suggests, this comes from Polygon, Nintendo will be able to build a stockpile of millions of consoles shipped from Vietnam to the US ahead of June's Switch 2 launch. Y'all hear this? Nintendo is amassing a stockpile, millions and millions of Switch 2 consoles to be shipped to the US during this whole pause on tariffs period. Now, that's based off data provided by global trade data and customs analyst company NBD. NBA 2K $100 edition at launch, Lake Show. I do it every year just because it's worth it, because the amount of VC you get, it offsets the VC you're going to get individually anyway. Facts, all digital too, Lake Show. Facts, Lake Show. I need somebody to type Lake Show in the chat. Show my guy Lake Show some love. Dion, No Sag. Appreciate y'all showing my guys love. Even this Borderlands 4 game looks cool running on the Switch, man. Switch 2. It's gonna be a crazy system. Dylan type Lake Show. Panthorius Lake Show. Pay type Lake Show. Appreciate y'all showing my guy Lake Show some love. NBD, which showed Nintendo shipped more consoles from Vietnam in February than it had in the previous 6 months combined. That's why I wanted to talk about this. This is breaking news. So check this out. Nintendo shipped more Switch 2 consoles from Vietnam in the month of February than they did the previous 6 months combined. They greatly ramped up. Civ 7 is going to be lit too on the Switch 2. They greatly ramped up production of the consoles. 2K! I think that is great news. Hey, no such facts. We need Nintendo to drop that pre-order date. Here's my prediction on when they're going to drop the pre-order date. I think they're going to drop it at the end of the Mario Kart Direct next week. I think that'll be a good time. And they should actually add that into the stream. Here's the new pre-order date for Switch 2. And they announced the pre-order date. That's when all eyes will be on Nintendo. I think that's the best time for them to do it. All right. So, I think this is great news. And the rest of this information we already talked about. So, the tariffs are greatly affecting Nintendo, their plans, their production. All right, we have another one. This next news item is great news, and it alludes to what one of the subscribers said earlier from the UK. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders. UK retailers sell out. US and Canada wait for updates. The pre-orders officially went live yesterday in the UK. Some stores were selling them ahead of time, doing their own random thing. But the official pre-orders from Nintendo that went out yesterday in the UK all sold out. That means it's about to be crazy in the US. North American pre-orders are delayed, so we're looking further afield for the new console. They're open in the UK, but you'll have difficulty finding it. This is coming from cnet.com. Pre-orders for the standalone Switch 2 console and the Mario Kart World Bundle sold out quickly after they opened up on Tuesday in the UK. At this time, all UK retailers are still out of stock. I repeat, all UK retailers are still out of stock. But according to my guy, I think it was Martin, said that they're going to open up more stock in waves. They're going to be doing it in waves. I remember Sony did that with the PlayStation. Like they did them in waves. So if you don't get the first wave, that's going to be the launch day consoles. Don't get discouraged. Just wait for Nintendo to release the next wave of pre-orders. And who knows, the second and third waves, if they do a couple more waves before launch, you could possibly still get a console. Now, if I were you, I'd secure it in the first wave. But just do your best every time they announce the pre-orders. All right. Availability is expected to return, which is why below you'll find top retailers to keep an eye on if you're hoping to snag one of these consoles on release day. We'll be tracking stock availability regularly, so be sure to check back. Here's a note on the article. We currently have no confirmation that the digital download code for Mario Kart World in the UK Switch 2 bundle will work with non-UK Nintendo accounts. So the games may be regional locked as far as digital codes. So that's important to note. So UK Switch 2s sold out almost immediately. Right now, all retailers in the UK are out of stock, and in the US, we are waiting. All right. We already talked about this. Bro, I've always wanted to do this. Let's do this now. First, let's check out part 2 of Ask the Developer, where it gives us more information on the Switch 2 console, tidbits that people aren't really talking about, and it may give you some more insight on the Switch 2 console. If we have time, we may check out the Nintendo official website. That website is crazy pertaining to the Switch 2. But this is part 2, redesigning everything from scratch. Speaking of redesigning, remember, Nintendo has said the Joy-Cons have been redesigned from scratch. So even though it doesn't have Hall Effect sticks, I really think Nintendo just can't call them Hall Effects. I did see something earlier, but they are going to be drift. Nintendo has to know that Joy-Con drifting is a problem that that they're gonna improve upon the current Switch. Same day, Switch 2. We will be on that Fortnite on launch day too. We're gonna be trying out everything. We got to see how Fortnite runs on the Switch 2. We got to. All right. Here we go. This is straight from the developers who made the Switch 2 console. Now that we've discussed the direction you took when developing Switch 2, which elements specifically have been enhanced? How did they enhance the Switch 2? Sasaki, although we made various changes, one thing that's easily noticeable at a glance is the larger screen size. When you see this system for the first time, you'll most likely think to yourself, whoa, that screen's huge. Kawamoto. While the console has the same thickness as the Switch, not only is the screen larger, but it also allows for higher resolution visuals. 1080p screens, boy. It's more vivid and has a smoother display rate, 120 frames per second. I see a lot of people saying, oh, it should be OLED, it should be OLED, it should be OLED. This screen runs circles around the Switch 1 OLED. One, just the fact that it's a higher resolution. So the 1080p screen is going to look crisper than the 720 screen. And that refresh rate, bro. That refresh rate is going to be amazing. This is what I'm probably going to do in Metro Prime. Docked 4K 60. Handheld, if it supports 120 frames per second in handheld, we're going to do 120 frames per second in handheld. All right. Here we go. Please stop it. The Switch 2 is about to dominate. Hey. So please, right? No, he's not. He just plays Fortnite on the PS5. That's it. All right. Shh. All right, here we go. In addition to the processor, check this out. Hey, Switch 2, mass produce. Focus, bro. Stop trolling the chat.
No, he's not trolling.
All right. We're at 76 likes. 14 people. 14 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Echidna with the $5 super chat. He says, Obi, you see the Reddit forum with a lot of people coming together going on eBay and have eBay Switch 2 posts take down? Here's another 5. That's crazy. I didn't see that. That's crazy. I need somebody to spam Echidna in the chat. Murr, who is sponsoring our second console giveaway, has entered the chat. Shout out to Murr. Elsa typed Echidna. Murr Echidna. Mass produce Echidna paid. Show my guy Echidna some love, bro. Y'all went crazy today, bro.
How much?
Appreciate it.
$102.55.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the donations today, bro. The super chats. All right. Focus. A smoother display rate. In addition to the processor, we've powered up various other parts of Switch 2 to expand its capacity as a console. Sasaki, as a side note, the tech savvy among you might already be aware, but Nintendo has always developed each new gaming system with a focus on its system memory capacity. This time, we were particularly aggressive in pursuing increased memory size. Aside from the processor, there's also the LCD screen, internal memory storage, And of course, each feature involves cost and memory capacity. So we had to strike a balance when powering up the system. Hey, Nintendo went for power. Shout out to these guys, bro. I don't know if this is Kawamoto, Sasaki, or Dota, but shout out to all three of them guys that said, you know what? We giving Nintendo fans power this generation. All right. Kawamoto. The battery life was another factor we had to balance. That's right. They can't go overboard with power because Nintendo's known for giving us good battery life. A high-performance processor and a large system memory consume a lot of power, which reduces battery life. However, as we were finding that balance, we also needed to keep in mind that people will be playing it on the go. We made various efforts to ensure the battery life wouldn't be reduced significantly, such as increasing the battery capacity to 1.2 times of the Switch. Now, it's being reported the battery life of the Switch 2 is at 2.5, the lowest, all the way up to 6 hours of battery life. And when you compare that to the launch Switch, it was the same. And I don't remember having any issues with battery life on my launch Switch. And throughout the generation of the Switch 1, Nintendo did improve battery life, and you can expect Nintendo will do the same. So I think, but I know people who still have their launch day Switch. I still have a launch day Switch in my house, and it still works perfectly fine as far as battery life. And so if you buy a launch day Switch 2, you should be good for the entire generation. Now, core fans, you're still going to be picking up like OLED, Switch Lite, different iterations, and it still works.
The launch day Switch.
My launch Switch, still got it.
The lost is kickstand.
Lost, kickstand, other stuff. You still have your launch day Switch. Good stuff, Oli. Oli, hope you been good, bro. All right. All right, here we go. Dota. Because Switch has been accepted by many players and played over a long period of time, in the same way, we wanted Switch 2 to be a dedicated game system with performance that can stand the test of time. We carefully considered the balance between processing capability and system memory capacity, and we believe we've managed to create a system that players won't feel is outdated later down the line. Let me say that again. We believe we created a system that players won't feel is outdated later down the line. Now, I have to say, about halfway during the Switch 1's console cycle, about 4 years ago, everybody was like, all right, we need a new console, Nintendo. We need the whole internet. Where's the Switch Pro? Switch Pro, Switch Pro. They're saying they've future-proofed the system to last. And I really think this system's going to be good throughout this next console generation. Even when a PlayStation 6 or the next Xbox comes, we're still going to be getting great Switch 2 support. I really do feel so. And I have an inclination that Sony and Xbox, their next systems are going to be handhelds. Like before they come out with the PlayStation, because if Sony comes out with the PlayStation 6 right now, it's going to be at least $800. Because the PS5 Pro is $700, and I'm wondering notice Sony hasn't reported anything on the lifetime sales. Let me look at PS5 Pro lifetime sales. Let me see. It would be interesting to see if they followed. No, there are no PlayStation 5 sale. I can't find PlayStation 5 Pro sale numbers anywhere. So that's not a good sign when Sony isn't coming out and saying PS5 Pro has sold X amount this past month. Not a lot of people. $700? That's a lot, bro. And so for a PS5 Pro. All right, Kawamoto. So it's good to see that they said that they're trying to future-proof the Nintendo console this generation. So Switch 2, we're gonna be good, bro. It's gonna be a good investment for the next 8 or so years. All right, Dota. For DLSS updates, probably. Then that makes sense, Paid. Kawamoto. Because we envision hardware performance that would persist over time, we did impose some restrictions. Switch 2 games will have larger file sizes. And Panthorius with the $20 super chat. I need the chat to spam Panthorius. Bro. Before you go, bro, just a little something to show love. Get in the drawing and get hype. Even though I'm a Sony pony, Nintendo NES was my first console. But show the love. I'm feeling the pull back to Mario. That's what's up. Because we all have our roots in Nintendo. Now, don't get me wrong. When the PlayStation 1 came out, I had a PlayStation 1. PlayStation 2. I've had every console, every generation except for this generation. Hey, for all the Sony ponies, here's My Little Pony on that Game Boy Advance, boy.
Why is this in your cartridge? I'm very...
All right. So, everybody spam Panthorius. Everybody that typed Panthorius, Tony, Dion, Nosage, Ray, Elsa, Tony, Pierre, Mass Produce, Chariot Man, Paid, Baby Red. Everybody show Al Bundy, showing my guy Panthorius some major love. Appreciate it, bro. Really, really appreciate it, Panthorius. And everybody who donated this stream. Crazy work. And I'm going to shout out everybody at the end of the stream. All right. Yeah, hey, PlayStation Vita is a good console, bro. It was just my JRPG machine, but it is what it is. But I already let y'all know, so it's going to be nothing new on this channel. This generation, it's only Switch 2, bro. This generation, I'm only going to be gaming on the Switch 2. And I'll be talking about Xbox and PlayStation as it relates to the Switch 2. For example, Xbox announced they are having there's big Xbox Summer Showcase June 8th. It's a Sunday, which is tough. But if I get home in time, I will live stream the Xbox Showcase. Why? Because it's going to have Switch 2 announcements. Xbox has already said that they're putting their games on the Switch 2. So I'm tuning into the Xbox Showcase for the Switch 2 announcements, boy. So that's when I'll be talking about Xbox and PlayStation.
I was talking about Xbox.
So you want to stay up to date on that Nintendo fire, make sure you subscribed. All right. Because we envisioned hardware performance that would persist over time, we did impose some restrictions. Switch 2 games will have larger file sizes, and in order to load data while smoothly processing the game, a certain amount of access speed is needed. For example, in Mario Kart World, the player can drive their kart freely around a vast world, but of course their destination needs to be visible. Therefore, it's necessary to use a micro SD express card with faster transfer speeds rather than the micro SD card that was used until now, so that a large amount of data can be read in advance and rendered quickly. That's good. But since Switch 2 has 256 gigabytes of built-in storage, I doubt most people would need a micro SD express card immediately after buying the system. So the system is built for improved speed, improved processing power. It's going to be great. All right, they continue. We're just going to come to the end of it. We're almost to, we're close. All right, we got some more stuff to talk about. All right, he says, so you struck a balance by ensuring the essential elements in terms of a home ASAP. Bro.
Just 20.
ASAP with the $20 super chat. You deserve the love, OB. Nintendo is better than PlayStation.
No, PlayStation
Always
no.
has
You say that
been.
Sony pony.
Joshua called him a Sony party. All right. Hey, big facts. ASAP. Big facts ASAP. I need the chat to go crazy. Type ASAP. Dion, Panthorius, Tony, Nosage, Elsa, Panthorius, Chariot Man, all typed ASAP. Microsoft only had one truly great console, that was the Xbox 360. That's facts, Paige. That's facts. That is big facts. All right. Every Nintendo home console has been great. Everyone, even the Wii U, bro. Splatoon, them introducing Splatoon alone. And we had Mario Kart 8 on this. Man, y'all better show the Wii U respect. Every Nintendo console, both home and handheld, has been epic. Nintendo has never missed a beat, except for one system. RIP Virtual Boy. RIP the Virtual Boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Virtual Boy. All right. So Nintendo did have one trash system. But even the Virtual Boy, that Wario game on the Virtual Boy was good. All right. Let's keep going. So you struck a balance by ensuring the essential elements in terms of, appreciate the 20 again, ASAP. I appreciate it, bro. Home video game system that's also portable while increasing the processing power as much as possible. We've discussed the system's performance, but how about the Joy-Con controllers? Joy-Con boys, which are symbolic of Switch. Did you also make changes or enhancements to them? We redesigned everything from scratch for Joy-Con 2. I am confident we're not going to have Joy-Con drifting in the Switch 2. Or it might be minimal, not as widespread as the Switch 1. They just said they redesigned everything from the ground up. Why redesign everything from the ground up and still implement the same problem that plagued the Switch 1? That makes no sense. Compared to the Joy-Con controllers for Switch, the control sticks, seems like they're answering it right now. This is why I like to read this information, because a lot of people don't report on this. And I save me reading this for when I'm live so the news can break with all of us. The control sticks are larger and more durable. Joy-Con drifting. That was a big problem. They just said that they're larger and more durable with smoother movements. We've also made Joy-Con 2 bigger to match the larger console. But if we simply stretch Switch System's Joy-Con vertically, they'd end up being difficult to hold, as your fingers wouldn't be able to reach the L and R buttons, and they wouldn't fit the shape of your palms. That's why we lengthened the L and R buttons, rounded off the bottom corners, and experimented with various placements of the control sticks and buttons, right down to the millimeter or less, to arrive at the shape and layout we have now. Let's go. Dota. Controllers can feel different depending on the size of the player's hands, so we sought out small-handed developers within the company to hold the prototypes. We had to ask around, do you know anyone with small hands? So they tried out various hand sizes. Kawamoto. Also, you can't tell just by looking at it, but HD Rumble 2 for Switch 2 has been changed to allow for a wider variety of vibrations. I can't wait to feel the vibrations. The HD Rumble in the Joy-Con controller for Switch was able to create different sensations of touch, but because of the size of the Joy-Con itself, we weren't able to make the vibration as strong as in the controllers for the Nintendo GameCube. However, the HD Rumble 2 that's installed this time not only provides stronger vibrations, but also feels more realistic and has quicker response times. The hardware features of Switch 2, including Joy-Con 2, are introduced in Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So we hope that everyone will try them out. That's why we getting the Welcome Tour for $9.99, boy. We're still getting it. We're going to try it out. We're going to test it out. I heard that the Welcome Tour also has medals / achievements. Now, and I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself because I did get the video that shout out to ASAP that sent me that video. The Zelda games have achievements separate on an app. Medals. If it's true that this Welcome Tour has achievements, medals, Bill Trinen might have been mistaken. And Nintendo very well might have system-wide achievements. Time will tell. I'm optimistically cautious. I'm just going to be cautious with it. But I hope Nintendo implements where you can just look at your profile and just see all your medals, compare your medals to your friends. Come on, Nintendo. Y'all are so close to doing it. Why not just go all the way? All right. Speaking of Joy-Con controllers, this time they attach to the console magnetically. Originally, when we were developing Switch, there was the idea to attach the Joy-Con controllers to the console with magnets. So this was originally a Switch 1 idea, and I remember them talking about this. Using magnets, you'd be able to attach and detach the Joy-Con controllers right away, making it easier to share them. I took the prototypes to Iwata-san, because y'all gotta remember, Iwata was still alive during the development of the Switch. This is crazy how he's mentioning he took these prototypes to Iwata. Iwata wasn't alive to reap the benefits of the Switch generation, but he's directly responsible for the Switch. That's crazy. I took the prototypes to Iwata-san, the company's president at the time. Bro, just reading that is crazy. For feedback. But unfortunately, the Joy-Con controllers would wobble when attached to the console using magnets due to the weak connection. We decided to scrap the idea as we were concerned it would make customers uneasy about the console. Instead, we adopted the rail system for the Switch, which allowed for a more stable attachment. But we always wished we could make it easier to attach and detach the controllers. That's facts. The rails, how many of y'all have had your Joy-Con stuck? You put it on the wrong side. We've all had that problem. Sasaki. My team has continued to research the magnet since the development of the Switch. We weren't ready to give up on that idea either. Hey, coverage, my G. Yes, go. Pierre, I got y'all covered with the pre-order information. We went over everything. We're updated. If y'all are subbed to the channel, y'all are updated on the pre-order situation. All right, Kawamoto, let's continue this developer discussion. We needed the controllers to attach firmly to the console so they don't wobble. At the same time, we wanted it to be easy to detach and comfortable to attach even for children. And that's crazy how even if you put it on the wrong side, upside down, it'll still attach and the screen, it'll still work. That's crazy. And so we asked the technology development department's hardware team the impossible, but they went through a lot of trial and error, and we were finally able to attach it firmly and remove it easily with just a light press of the release button. Dota. We originally chose to incorporate magnets for their functionality and convenience, but in the end, everyone on the technology development team fine-tuned it right down to the satisfying snap feel when you attach the controllers to the console. I think this has become a key element that symbolizes Switch 2. You'll only get a proper sense of it once it's in your hands, so I encourage everyone to go and try it for themselves. That snap! Good stuff. If you've been nurturing this idea since the development of the Switch, You must have been passionate about this for over a decade. Dota, I feel like there have always been people at Nintendo who refuse to give up on various things and are tenacious in continuing their research. Even ideas that unfortunately can't be adopted at this time might have the opportunity to be realized in the future. Fun fact, the motion controls for the Wii, they were being tested, I think, on the GameCube as a peripheral or a previous Nintendo console, and they finally implemented it in the Wii. So Nintendo's notorious for having ideas from previous systems and finally implementing them in later systems. All right. Speaking of key elements, the Joy-Con 2 controllers can also be used as mice this time, right? Is this also a feature that's been nurtured for some time? Kawimoto. It wasn't in the initial planning, but when I was playing a PC game using a mouse, the idea struck me that maybe the Joy-Con controllers could be used as mice. Switch 2 originally designed to support a wide range of games by improving the system's processing speed. What?
We have to leave in 50 minutes.
Yeah. I know that. So with that in mind, I thought it'll be better to be able to play interesting games that require a mouse. Implementing mouse controls that's widely used nowadays in the Joy-Con controllers isn't that costly. And I think that's exactly what lateral thinking of withered technology is all about. I thought it was a really great idea, so I proposed it to the technology development department, and they were like, oh, we've been thinking about that for ages. The mouse. We assumed it would come up eventually, so we'd been keeping a close eye on the technology that was used to make it happen. This time, I think we were able to propose a solution at the right time. Kawimoto. Check this out, Metroid Prime 4. Using Metroid Prime 4 as an example, since there are two controllers, you can use the left Joy-Con 2 to move your character around with the control stick while I'm using the right Joy-Con 2 as a mouse to aim and shoot. By using Joy-Con 2 controllers, we can make games like Drag and Drive. I'm getting Drag and Drive. I convinced myself to get it. And we can even create gameplay experiences where two players use mouse controls, like Super Mario Party Jamboree. This makes it possible to enjoy a wider variety of games. Dota. As you may know, the Switch screen supports touch controls. It does, but it can only be used in handheld mode and tabletop mode. When you change it to TV mode, the touchscreen function is not available. The same goes for Switch 2, but I think the mouse functionality can also serve as a substitute for the touchscreen, as it allows you to point to a spot on the TV, similar to the cursor for Wii Remote, although it's not quite the same thing. That reminds me, when we were developing Switch, we were wondering whether to remove the touchscreen functionality as it can't be used in TV mode. But then Iwata-san said, I'm sure there will be games that make use of it, so why not keep it? So we kept it. Breaking news! This is crazy. It was Iwata who said, let's keep touchscreen on the Switch. Crazy. All right. We're coming to the end. But this is crazy stuff, man. Indeed, games that use touch controls in handheld mode are difficult to control in TV mode. With a mouse, it seems easier to ensure a consistent gameplay experience between both modes. So they're saying using a mouse is more accurate than using the pointer on the screen. Will it be more accurate than motion aiming with the Pro Controller? We'll have to see. I'm going to try both. But I have a feeling I'm going to lean towards that Pro Controller. That Pro Controller just looks clean. Speaking as a software developer, it's great to have an option like this. In terms of controllers, is it just the Joy-Con 2 controller that have been redesigned? How about the Switch Pro Controller? Let's talk about the Pro Controller. Let's go. Kawimoto. First things first. The Joy-Con controllers and Pro Controller from Nintendo Switch can be used with Nintendo Switch 2. That's dope. But now we've created a controller that's evolved further. Aside from the color, the Switch 2 Pro controller may look indistinguishable from the previous controller at first glance, but it was also redesigned from scratch. In particular, the left and right control sticks are quieter and don't make noise. I heard somebody, I think it was from IGN, who said that they couldn't believe how quiet it was, even when they're moved quickly to the edge. Also, they glide very smoothly. Joy-Con drifting is gone. For them to keep emphasizing the stick, they did something with the engineering of the drifting of the sticks. Also, they glide very smoothly. So we've taken to calling them smooth gliding sticks. Now you mention it. I don't feel any kind of drag when I move them. Panthorius with the $10. We're at 90 likes. I need 10 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Let's crush 100 likes. And Panthorius with the $10 super chat. I like the idea of dual USB ports so you can plug up a battery pack to keep your Switch 2 running longer while you're on the go and have a port free for other peripherals. Very smart. Facts. Facts, Panthorius. Facts, bro. Facts, bro. I need somebody to spam Panthorius in the chat. Let me write Panthorius. Show my guy Panthorius some love. Panthorius. Appreciate it. Dion. Type Panthorius. Nosage Pan. Dion Panthorius. Ray Panthorius. L Panthorius. Bro, appreciate the $10 super chat. Yeah, I like that. Now if you're in tabletop mode, you can charge it by plugging it in from the top and you're good to go. All right. The Switch Pro controller. Let's keep talking about it. Sasaki, as they're calling them smooth gliding sticks, we've made efforts to reduce the feeling of bumping when you tilt them. In fact, there's been a long-running project at Nintendo with the grand ambition of developing the pinnacle of all controllers. And we've been researching it hard for a long time now. So they're saying they're trying to create the ultimate gaming controller. I can't wait to get my hands on the Switch 2 Pro controller. Kawimoto, the grip handles this time were designed with reference to the Nintendo GameCube controller. Interesting. With the base of the grip made thinner to give the fingers more space, we removed the seam around the grip part of the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller so it feels better to touch. We refer to them as seamless grips. Also, the Switch 2 Pro controller includes an audio jack, which allows you to use a headset mic for voice chat. Voice chat's gonna be crazy. It's convenient if you don't want to bother those around you with in-game sound. We also added new buttons to the back of the grip handles labeled GL and GR. Those two buttons aren't on the Joy-Con 2 controllers, right? That's right, and this is where they're gonna end it. You can find the GL and GR buttons on the Switch 2 Pro controller and the Joy-Con 2 charging grip that are both sold separately. So the charge grip also has those two buttons on the back. Players can assign any button inputs they want to these two buttons. What's more, hold on, the assign button inputs are saved for each game as well as each player. So it looks like it's going to be saved to your profile and for specific games. That's dope. So you can easily customize them by assigning button inputs that you frequently use to them, or buttons that are hard to reach at this. Did I just hear them say button inputs? Meaning, if I want to do a quarter circle fireball, I can save that as a button input and just use it. No, let me read this again. Players can assign any button inputs they want to these new buttons. I hope this isn't lost in translation and it's meaning what I think it's meaning. Bro, if so, that's going to be crazy. So you can easily customize them by assigning button inputs that you frequently use to them, or buttons that are hard to reach at the same time. For example, if you assign the capture button to the GL button, you can use it to take screenshots without taking your thumb off the L stick. That's interesting. I see. I didn't realize just from the way it looks, but it's sure undergone a lot of changes. That's crazy. All right, y'all. This is where we're going to be ending today's stream. Bruh. I gotta do the shout outs before we head out. Appreciate everybody just for y'all coming in and just giving the stream a thumbs up. But Panthorius with a $10, ASAP 20, Panthorius 20, Echidna 5, Lake Show 2, Gaming Dad 2, Red 5, Echidna 30, Panthorius 5, Red 10, ASAP 20, Lake Show another 2, Blake 2, Ghost Wolf 10, Echidna 5, Lake Show 2, Martin 2. Appreciate all the love this stream. What do you guys think about everything we talked about? Sound off in the comment section below. I want to know. But before you go, bro, click that subscribe button. Stay up to date. All things Nintendo. Hold on. L with the $5 super chat. I need everybody in the chat to type L. Type a L in the chat. That's how you end the stream. Last slap in. L, appreciate it, bro. L. Everybody type L in the chat. Go ahead, push L. Good job. All right, you gotta push enter so it goes. Push enter. Right here, push enter. Booyah, there it went. Obi-Wan plays L. All right, L, appreciate it. Who else spammed L? Panthorius, Evil Holders, Pablo, Dion, Red, No Sag. Everybody spamming L. L, appreciate it, my guy. All right, what do y'all think about everything we talked about? I already did all that. So let them know. All right, we out. Outro, we out. Peace.
Reggie, please, man!
Obi-Wan plays.
That's right. What's up? All right.
Obi-Wan plays.